And now we've bullied him into the ground. With a couple of clicks, we can make peace. And we're free from his attacks for a turn, and then we can do it all again next turn. Hello everybody and welcome to Civilization 5. This is in fact a perfectly balanced, not at all exploitative video in any way, shape or form, but let me give you some context to this perfectly natural and not at all abusive game mechanic. So I'm playing this game here with Mongolia and I'm using my unique unit, which is this wonderful fast horseman. It can jump in, it can fire a ranged attack, it can jump back out again. I'm playing as Mongolia, so I receive combat bonus against city-states. I'm playing on deity, so it's pretty tough, pretty strong opponents, but I've got my eyes set here, as you can see, on Mbanza Congo. I got my units here, I got a couple of great generals, I've pillaged basically every tile they own, right? Everything is looking great. The downside is I don't really have any siege units, I don't have a lot of cities, I've had a pretty tough start, I can't really afford to build any more siege units, but I have all of my unique cavalry here, plinking away at the city, turn after turn. The downside is, of course, I just can't quite take it. And I'm taking a lot of damage, right? The city has a relatively high defense. It's a somewhat difficult position to get to. It's around 10 tiles from me. And so overall, I'm struggling. And then I discover something live on stream. We all sort of discovered it together. And I can't believe I didn't know about it sooner because I love this game. I guess it's just because I don't really fight city-states that often. But basically, what we can do is declare war with them at the start of the turn. The start of my turn. Then, as you can see here, fire. Fire at their units. Fire at their city. Basically just clear out their military strength, right? I'm taking advantage of every possible exploit I can muster here by starting my turn declaring war, stealing their workers, firing upon their military units, degrading the strength of the city. Then, before my turn is over, I declare peace, right? I peace out. Peace out, see ya, we're not at war. Because they're a city-state, unlike an AI player, you can do this turn after turn, after turn, after turn. Now, how does it work differently to a normal AI player, or indeed a real person in multiplayer? Well, in Civ 5, with city-states, you have complete control over when you're at war with them and when you're not. They don't act as an independent foreign power. They don't have the same limitations that another civilization has. For example, you don't have to wait a certain number of turns to declare war again, or to declare peace again. There is no 5-turn or 10-turn cooldown after declaring war. You can just declare war, attack, and declare peace all in the same turn. What does that mean? Of course, in practice, it means they never get to hit you because you're fighting them on your turn and then peacing out during theirs. Now, the other thing that makes this so strong in comparison to, say, a normal war against another civilization is the fact that you can keep your units in their territory. So, as you may or may not be familiar, in a normal war in Civ, when you declare war, if you have units inside an enemy territory, they'll be pushed out. They'll be removed from that territory. So let's say with the Germans here, I have open borders. I can move my units in and around their territory. If I declare war with them, my units are forced out, right? Because that would give me an unfair advantage. I can't have open borders, sneak all my units in, surround their city, and then just cheekily declare war and quickly take it on my turn. That's not fair. There have to be some sort of Geneva Convention style guidelines to at least keep war somewhat on a level playing field. However, when you're fighting city-states, again, those rules don't apply. What does that mean? It means you can keep your military units in their territory turn after turn after turn. They're not forcibly removed. So, how does our new strategy work now? Well, we know we're not bound by the normal peace and war declaration time period cooldown diplomatic nonsense that restricts us in normal warfare when we're fighting city-states like Mbanza Congo. We also know that our units aren't forcibly removed at the end of war or before war is declared, so we can literally just leave them here. We can just leave them here. We can leave them sitting and looking very pretty within Mbanza Congo's borders. Now, there is only one downside, and it is quite significant. There is one mechanic that carries through from warfare, from any sort of normal warfare with an AI civilization or a multiplayer civ, and that is the Warmonger penalties. Now, they're not as severe in Civ 5 as they are in Civ 6, but I'm going to throw them up on screen now because you do need to understand this if you're going to take advantage of this exploit. Now, this is how warmongering works in Civ 5, and don't be put off by the wall of text. Allow me to explain it a little bit, because this does matter for the exploit, okay? I won't delve too deep into all of the technicalities, but let's quickly run through it. So, in Civ 5, you produce a warmonger score when you are an aggressive warmonger, when you're attacking people, taking cities, so on and so forth. The amount that you produce has a fixed base amount. So, for example, a declaration of war has a warmonger amount of 250. There are also multipliers that are applied to that warmonger amount. For example, the earlier you are in the game, there is a reduction to that amount. So, it's 50% of the normal amount during the Ancient Era. During the Renaissance era, it's 80% of the normal amount, and then after the Industrial era, it's 100%. There are also other decays that happen. For example, 5 points per turn is lost just over time. Now, Warmonger score is generated by the AI's tolerance to your warmongering. So some AI will be more open to you being aggressive, others will have a very low tolerance. What you need to know for this video is that every time you declare war, you produce 250 warmonger score. After the Industrial era, as I said, that remains unchanged, but in earlier eras there's a slight deduction. Generally, you're going to be producing somewhere between 125 and 250 warmonger amount. That's the amount of warmongering you'll produce by declaring war, okay? 200 plus warmonger score is considered critical. They will fear your warmongering and will soon sink the world into a new dark age, as described in-game. What that means is, when you declare war, and you're doing it every turn, you are producing an incredible amount of warmonger hate. The other players will hate you for this. Initially, after doing it once or twice, some of the more aggressive civs in the game will be less likely to distrust you. But after you've done it more than that, basically everyone in the game will hate you. Why does that matter? Well, they'll be more likely to denounce you. They'll be more likely to declare war against you, to punish you for your crimes, and they'll be more likely to punish you diplomatically as well. So you might see policies being pushed through the World Congress that are really anti-you because you're aggressive. So, the one downside to this exploit is that you will generate an absurd amount of warmonger penalties, and while they're not quite as bad in Civ 5 as they are in Civ 6, they're pretty detrimental. Okay, shout out to civilization.fandom.com for the information that I've provided into this video. You can, of course, check that out and have a read through yourself to get through the real nitty-gritty of how it works. But fundamentally, the only thing you need to know while you're carrying out this exploit is that it will generate a lot of warmonger penalties, so you should be ready for declaration of wars and ready for some nasty diplomatic toing and froing at the World Congress stage. Otherwise, as you can see, folks, this exploit works fantastically well. You declare war, you fire at the enemy with everything you've got, destroying their units, pillaging their tiles, and of course, weakening their city defenses. Then you quickly peace out before the end of the turn, and you save yourself taking any incoming damage. Thank you so much for watching this video where I've talked you through how fighting the AI, particularly the city-states, in Civilization 5 is actually perfectly balanced and not at all exploitative. Thanks so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, I'd really love it if you could leave a like rating. It really helps me and the channel grow. And until next time, I'll catch you then. See you, everybody.